Welcome back to the news at 10. The hopes of voting candidates of their choice were dashed yesterday owing to problems associated with the card readers. While the people of Oronshoki in Koshofe constituency 1 in Lagos showed their resilience as they returned to the polling units today to exercise their voting rights. Our correspondent Yomi Otaigbe reports.
Oronshoki is in Koshofe local government area under the Lagos East Senatorial District. The people here say there was actually no voting in any part of the area on March 28 in about 59 polling centers.
That yesterday, we were told that they left the casting paper at home, and it's not supposed to be like that.
Another story came up, and that was the story of the issue of card readers. And the card readers were not functioning. They were not functional, so they had to take them back to reactivate them.
It's another day and another chance to cast their ballots, and the people are determined to make the best of the situation. Despite the scorching sun, most of them have their umbrellas and, of course, taking some water to quench their thirst.
We've not seen this turnout ever since we've been conducted election in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, and it's been peaceful all around.
The card readers are now working in most areas, including Awolowo, Miyaki, Kpako-Ekore, Beluola, Olojojo, and a host of others. But at Olorunfumi Street, accreditation was done manually. Against all odds, it's time to vote.
At last, we are able to exercise our civic responsibility to the nation.
So what do you think of the card reader?
They should give it a chance, but I was disappointed yesterday. It happened to so many people, but there were people that their own went through. So meaning that it perfectly worked with some people, it did not perfectly work with some people. So for that trial, improvement will, I think when they do it again and again, it will give a good result.
And so, voting finally took place in most of the polling centers in Oronshoki. Security operatives were on hand to ensure the maintenance of law and order. One thing that stood out during the voting process in Oronshoki is the involvement of not just the young people, but the older generations who seem to believe, just like 88-year-old Pa Isaac Obanlewo, that this process is one that can deepen Nigeria's democracy.
I thank God that I'm still alive to witness this very important election, which I'm sure will be the best for the survival of our children.
Yomi Otaigbe reporting for Channels Television News.
Yomi Otaigbe is back. She joins us now live on the news at 10. Hi, Yomi.
Hi, Ijoma.
Well, the story of Oronshoki seems to be one of resilience. Let's start with Pa Isaac that we saw there. You see people as old as that coming out to cast their votes. What does that say to you about this particular election?
Okay, to me, it means that I think they still have the belief in Nigeria. They still think their votes can count. They still think they can do this to change whatever it is that they think they can change to make Nigeria better. And I think it's just what I would say, high-level passion.
There were a number of them sitting in a row there, and I know that they had logistics problems with the card reader, etc. yesterday. Were they there yesterday as well?
Yes, they were there yesterday, and they came back today. You saw somebody trying to hold, the man and lead him here. He came earlier for accreditation. He went back home when they were waiting for the ballot papers, and
and you can see him on the screen. They're looking really frail.
Yes, frail, but he said he's so happy to be part of this and to contribute his own quota to making Nigeria better.
Okay, now via our Eyewitness platform, we had this story of another elderly person, senior citizen, who was in hospital and came from hospital to cast his vote.
That's the passion I'm talking about. A passion that sometimes you really can't explain it, because you say somebody is sick in the hospital, you'll expect that, okay, all that will be on his mind is just to make sure that he gets well and get back home.
As we can see, there's this is an octogenarian as well. So yours seems to be the story of the elderly.
Yeah, really. And I saw some of them too at Egbe Dimo. You know, I think it's encouraging and saying things to the younger generation that yes, we don't have to go through violence. We don't have to make, you know, any other options than casting our votes and making it count.
Another thing I noticed while your report was on, there were several umbrellas out there in the scorching sun. You found people. You know,
I filed in reports earlier today, and yes, I got burnt a little. Yeah. And Sulai was saying I should soak myself. Indeed, I soaked myself in that scorching sun.
Indeed. But have you seen this sort of determination before?
Okay, I think there's something about this election that the people just want to make a statement. Whatever statement it is, we'll have to wait till the end of, you know, everything, and we hear the
Okay, finally now, Yomi, yesterday there were challenges, they couldn't vote. Is it all sorted out? Have they voted?
Yes, it was about the card readers, you know, they were malfunctioning, and today it's been sorted out, except for that Olufumilayo Street where they had to use manual accreditation.
All right, our correspondent Yomi Otaigbe, just back from the field. Thank you so much for joining us here on the News at 10. Now, ahead of the announcement of the presidential elections results by the Independent National Electoral Commission, some prominent Nigerians have appealed to politicians and their supporters to accept the outcome of the elections in good faith in the interest of peace. According to them, the elections were peaceful, and they encourage citizens to demonstrate the same patriotism when the electoral umpire finally announces the results. They also advise Nigerian youths against being used by politicians to cause violence.
While Nigerians await the announcement of results of Saturday's presidential elections, some prominent Nigerians have advised politicians and their supporters to accept the results in the interest of national cohesion. In an interview with Channels Television, the director of the National Interfaith Prayer Center in Abuja said the election was peaceful and asked politicians to accept the results in good faith.
My advice is that Nigerians should be patient and wait for INEC to make a final announcement. And whatever the outcome, we in the interfaith community, we believe that only God gives power.
Pt.3 also urged Nigerian youths not to allow the politicians use them for violence after the results are announced.
These politicians, their children are in London, their children are in America, their children are in Germany. They will not bring their children to come and fight, but they will use our youths. Nigerian youths, don't allow yourself to be used.
In the same vein, the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Mr. Yunusa Tanko, commended the patriotism of voters during the polls.
At this rate, Nigerians have shown that they are not interested in violence. All they want is their vote to count.
The Senate President, David Mark, says he's worried about the performance of the card readers, which failed in many areas to capture biodata of cardholders after several attempts. Senator Mark, however, called for patience in order to ensure a hitch-free process and commended the peaceful conduct of Nigerians who came out in large numbers to cast their votes.
I think this is a very important election, and we must all exercise a lot of patience to make sure that every Nigerian who is registered is given an opportunity to vote. The essence is to make sure that Nigerians vote and that their votes count. I think the people themselves are conscious, so nobody is caused any problem yet. And I believe until the election is over, they will not cause any problem, and nobody in this should cause any problem. So in terms, yes, security arrangement, I think is perfect.
Several controversies have begun trailing the conduct of the 2015 elections, and other politicians have been speaking their minds. The problems encountered with the card readers has started major arguments, while some voters say they are unhappy with the logistics of the polls. Politicians, especially those from the two main political parties, are sharply divided over these issues. Our political correspondent Sheung Okimbaloye reports.
Second day of voting, and the nation each for the outcome of the polls. Lots of controversies already trailing the process, from the use of the card readers to logistic challenges and provision of election materials. Already the two major parties in the race are already talking about the conduct, especially the role of the card readers.
We were able to discover the reasons why they were not working in many areas. I think majorly it was because of poor handling.
This election is strategic. This election would determine the future of this country. You don't experiment with such a strategic issue like this.
Smoothly. The umpire has some explanation, but since it asks his ad hoc officials to go manual with accreditation, has that in any way affected the integrity of the process?
Many stolen PVCs, many cloned PVCs, many bought PVCs. I think the integrity of the whole process has been compromised.
It's like shifting the goalpost midway through the match or changing the rules midway through the match. If he had listened to have said, look, where it doesn't work, immediately use the manual, it would have been part of the process.
Anxiety is building as a result are yet to be announced by INEC, but online, some people are already posting their own version of the results.
This is about the welfare of our people, our future, and the future of our children's children, and we are not playing games with it. But one thing is very clear, we will not be robbed, and neither will we be denied.
We are armed at every polling booth level with the result of our agents. On the contrary, I think it's just a preemptive strike on the part of the PDP.
Tension mounts as the clock ticks and we move closer to knowing the winners in the race. It will be interesting to know who emerges the winner in the presidential election, in perhaps the most keenly contested election in the history of Nigeria. Seun Okinbaloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
Accreditation and voting continued in Isheri and parts of Magodo in Lagos, where elections did not take place yesterday. Our visit to the area revealed that all the polling units received voting materials and the voters turned out. Our correspondent Chrissy Lems reports.
It's voting day 2 in the ongoing presidential election, and we're visiting some parts of Lagos where voting could not take place as scheduled. Our mission is to ascertain the extent to which the process has gone, beginning from Isheri, Bankole Street to be precise. And we are right now at Bankole Street in Isheri, where the voting has continued due to the fact that yesterday a lot of people were accredited very late, and in some polling units they had no ballot papers. But right now voting has commenced here, and there are a whole lot of people who are annoyed about what is happening.
We were out here yesterday 6 a.m. No proper information. Nobody talked to us. We are here. We are just coming until 7 p.m. So people are not well informed.
Yeah, over 800 registered voters, but up till now we have not up to 200 that we actually accredited.
Our next port of call is Isheri Grammar School, where accreditation seems to have been concluded and voting set to begin. The voters here are taken through the process by the security personnel on ground, after which voting proper begins. There seems to be an air of satisfaction here, except for a few still hoping to be accredited after waiting in vain the previous day.
Voting has started in earnest, and I think they are also helping. In fairness to them, they are also helping in telling the people, the so to speak illiterates, that the red colored ballot paper is for the presidency, the black one is Senate, and the green one is for the House of Reps, guiding people on how to vote.
However, our visit to Magodo reveals empty polling booths, except for these, where voters conduct themselves in orderly manner, waiting to have their turn to exercise their franchise.
And I'm even surprised that the violence that all of us were afraid of, nothing like that happened. That means God is with us.
And today being Palm Sunday, and we are in the Easter season, I know Nigeria will resurrect again in Jesus' name.
From what we gather, it's obvious that these voters, though may seem beaten, bruised or battered, they however hell-bent on casting their vote, irrespective of whose ox is God. Chris Illems, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, African Union observers commend security agencies in the conduct of the elections. Steve once again.